Hello, my name is Michaelyn, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about all of the books that I read in the month of July. I'm also gonna rev up on some cold brew that is quite delicious. Yes. Book number 1 in July is Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. This is a really popular YA contemporary, and I'm so glad I read it. If you watched my June video, I only read 3 books that month because I was in a pretty heavy reading slump and I was suffering from it since like May. So this was the book that really broke me out of it. It is a super cute, super fun story. It's about a girl named Anna who is forced to spend her senior year of high school at a boarding school for American students in Paris. Her father is sort of like a Nicholas Sparks knockoff, and his books, which are all these like tragic love stories, are being turned into movies, and to make it look like he's more cultured, he's sending his daughter off to get cultured. She's leaving her family, she's leaving her best friend, she's leaving this potential flirtation, possible boyfriend situation. And so she's pretty bummed out, but once she gets there, she makes some friends, and one of those friends is the charming, dashing British boy, Etienne St. Clair. That is the best name on the planet. Anna and Etienne, love it, have this really interesting relationship because they have a bond right from the start, but Etienne is, I'm just gonna laugh every time I say Etienne because it is the most fun. Etienne St. Clair, or as they call him, St. Clair, which I really think they should just call him Etienne the whole time, he is dating someone. She has her potential whatever's going on at home, but there's an undeniable chemistry between the two of them. And so the book is very much a will they, won't they, should they, how could they sort of situation. It's just funny, it's cute, it's sweet. If you are looking for something that is kind of like the happy pill you need after a bunch of sad stories, grab this. It worked for me, and I guarantee it'll work for you. Book number 2 that I read in July was Summerlong by Dean Bacopoulos. This is a fairly new adult contemporary. As you can see, I got it from the library. This book takes place during a massive heat wave in the Midwest, and it's about a married couple. They're both close to the age of 40, Claire and Don Lowry. Suddenly, it's like the relationship doesn't make sense anymore. Claire especially feels as if she has fallen out of love with her husband, and the story really begins with Dawn going for a walk and Claire going for a run, and both of them meeting these interesting characters. Claire meets a young man named Charlie. Dawn meets a girl who goes by her initials, which happen to be ABC. That really sets off the questioning, you know, why did we get married in the first place? Does love last forever? Do you have to work towards your relationship all of the time? Or are you supposed to just move along with everything? And so I really liked this. I thought it was really well written. At first I was like, I don't know if I'm feeling this. It's kind of heavy, which it really isn't, but like it's a little bit darker of a story, especially after reading such a fun YA novel, but I could not put this down. I would read 100 pages in a sitting, and I had it finished in 3 days. Really liked it, great writing. I would highly recommend this book. Unfortunately, I don't have book number 3 on me because I took it from the library. It is Finding Audrey by Sophie Kinsella. Sophie Kinsella probably sounds familiar to you. She is a best-selling author. She wrote the Confessions of a Shopaholic book series, and I think this is her first YA novel. The book is about a young girl. She's 14. Her name is Audrey Turner. It's first-person perspective, and it's all about her trying to heal after a stint in the hospital due to kind of a traumatic experience, I guess, that brought out her anxiety and depression. So she was temporarily hospitalized, and right now when we meet her, she is going to her therapist twice a week, and she is on medication, Klonopin specifically. She's not going to school, she's staying in all the time, and she always wears sunglasses. Basically, the story is all about Audrey trying to come to terms with the fact that she lives with severe and social anxiety and depressive episodes. And as someone who does deal with those every single day and has dealt with it for most of my life and has seen people deal with it, I would read the book and be like, yes, this book is really great because Audrey needs to take medication and they never shame her for that. Audrey needs to go to therapy and they never shame her for that. She's really honest. She's really coming into terms with what she'll basically be living with forever. And of course she'll have you know, really great moments. And she does meet a boy that she has a crush on. It's one of her brother's friends, and he does kind of break her out of her shell a little bit, but there are those moments where he's like, why can't you just snap out of it? And as you know, that's not something that can happen. So I thought it was a really honest portrayal. I hope to buy this book one day. If you suffer from anxiety, if you know anybody who does, it is such a great read. You're going to be able to relate to it, but you're also going to have a lot of fun reading it too. Immediately after finishing Finding Audrey, I started Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. And I just have to say, I read this book in less than 24 hours. That is something I do not do. This is about a girl in her early 20s named Tate who moves in with her brother Corbin. He lives in San Francisco and she's moving from San Diego. When she first gets there, she meets this super drunk guy who's just like on the front door step of the apartment she's trying to get into. He's miserable, he's incoherent, and she finds out that he is this really fairly nice guy, one of Corbin's best friends named Miles. There's an instant attraction between... They have an instant attraction, but something happened to Miles at some point in his life where he just does not want romantic love. So he and Tate decide to do this, not even friends with benefits situation, more like neighbors / attracted to each other people with benefits, where their relationship is strictly about sex. But his one rule, or two rules rolled into one, is don't ask about the past and don't expect a future. Of course, you know, she has feelings for him. He seems to be fighting feelings for her. And it's like, what's gonna happen? I cared so much about these characters. I was like rooting for them the whole time. And what's really great is every other chapter is Miles from 6 years ago. So Tate is our main narrator, but Miles is telling his story from 6 years ago. Basically what happened to him that sort of hardened his heart. It's emotional, it's super sexy, it's fun. I had so much fun reading this. I thought it was hot as all hell, and I would recommend this if you're looking for something that's like super easy to fall into and is just like, whoa girl, that was, oh god, yes, that was creepy. Just a warning, you probably should be like old enough to watch an R-rated movie before you read a Colleen Hoover book, or whatever. It's up to you. Freedom, you know what I mean? America. After parting ways with Ugly Love, which, like I said, took me less than 24 hours to read, I felt so connected to the characters and so like drained, and I wanted more, but I was like, what am I gonna do now? Well, my second Colleen Hoover book came in the mail that day, so I thought, beat one with the same sort of situation. It's about a girl named Auburn who is from Portland but moves to Texas. We're not really sure why she's moved to Texas. We'll find that out eventually. But one day when she's walking down the street to her apartment, she's kind of in need of extra money. She sees this art gallery. They're desperate for help. So she just kind of knocks on the door, and this handsome artist named Owen Gentry is in need of someone to help him kind of like schmooze the patrons of the art gallery for one night and to help sell the paintings. His gallery is called Confess, and his paintings are all inspired by actual confessions that people leave in a little box. He finds the ones that are most inspiring to him, makes a painting based on it. Basically, instant attraction yet again, but the characters both have secrets, and both of those secrets could impact the way that both of the people, if that makes sense, they're trying to fix their life, and by having each other in their lives, it might not fix their life. It might actually make things worse. So that's essentially what this is about. We're trying to figure out what kind of secrets they're hiding. Can they make it work past that? I mentioned this in my book haul video, but I know I'm going to be reading more Colleen Hoover. I'm really excited to try more of her books. They're just so easy and fun to read. So this past month, I went to visit my sister and go to the beach in Virginia. And because the trip for us, for my boyfriend and I, is about 6 to 7 hours, depending on how often we stop and how much traffic there is, I wanted to listen to an audiobook, something that we would both like. So I got The Martian by Andy Weir. This is a really popular book, and you might have heard of it because it is a movie coming out in October. This is sci-fi, and this is something that I don't normally read. However, The writing is so compelling. The Martian is about an astronaut named Mark Watney who is a part of Ares 3, this expedition to Mars, and he's a botanist, so I guess he was going to study the soil and everything. And when they land, there are some technical difficulties. This huge mess of a storm happens, and Mark gets stabbed through with like an antenna or something, and his crew leaves him behind because he's not responsive. His suit isn't showing his vitals. They assume he's dead. They fly away. Well, Mark Watney was not dead. He is currently stuck on Mars. This is terrifying. He is stuck on Mars and has to figure out how he's going to survive, or is he just going to die there? So that is a very interesting premise. If you are not intrigued by that enough to be like, I'm gonna read this and see how this man survives or doesn't survive on Mars, then I'm very shocked. Again, not a sci-fi person, not a sciencey person. That stuff goes right over my head. This was super compelling. And then finally, I read the Shatter Me series by Tahada Mafi, who is amazing. She's my new girl crush. I think she's fantastic. I love the way she writes. She just seems so cool. I'm obsessed with these book covers. I think they're so great. These books were just so easy to read. I'd really like to do a video on them. I don't want to say too much about them, especially since I read all 3 of them, and so I could tell you the whole dang story right now. Really brief way that I can explain this book to you, and this is all I knew when I went into it, and I think it's best to know very, very little when you read books, any books, but especially something that's like a series like this. Juliet is our narrator. When we meet her, she is in isolation. She has been in isolation for almost a year, 264 days, but has spent most of her life being neglected by her family, in and out of hospitals and detention centers, because as we find out, when she touches people, they could die. Nobody knows why she has the power, or what it entails, or just how far it can go. And so the whole series really explores all of that. I also read the 2 novellas that are related to this, which is Fracture Me and Destroy Me. I just would highly recommend these books if you're looking for something dystopian. I thought they were gorgeous. I could have read them forever. I'm hoping to do a video just talking about these, really getting into the characters and stuff like that at some point soon. Okay, so I did just say that Shatter Me and its counterparts were the last books that I read this month, but there is an honorable mention, or not so honorable, a dishonorable mention, and that would be Grey by E.L. James. Have you ever heard of her? Have you ever heard of Grey? This book I'm including because I did finish it this month, but I started it in June, and I would just kind of read it when I was like in between books. I'm not gonna lie, I did not hate the 50 Shades of Grey trilogy, so I felt compelled, even though this is the same story as the first book, I felt compelled to read it. I have thoughts and feelings on this for sure. When I read the books, it was 3 years ago. I was a different person back then. Oh man, just I don't know what to say. And there you have it. Those were all the books that I read in July. They were also fantastic, and I really loved them. So I'm really looking forward to sharing the books that I read in August soon. I'm looking forward to making a video about the Shatter Me series. I've got some other stuff up my sleeves. Like this video, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!